Kamala Harris assails President Donald Trump over the economy and democracy and returned to the big stage. Harris delivered her most direct rebuke of Trump's second term during a speech to hundreds of Democratic donors in San Francisco. Tyrone Bowman live. Let's talk about this right now. According to Politico California, Kamala Harris returned to the national stage Wednesday and issued a call to action urging Americans to fight back against what she cast as President Donald Trump's ruinous economic policies and assault on democracy. The former vice president, in her most extensive comments since losing to Trump, excoriated his trade policies, defiance of federal court orders, and push to slash spending for a host of federal programs. Quote, "It's an agenda, a narrow, self-serving vision of America, where they punish truth tellers, favor loyalists, cash in on their power, and leave everyone to fend for themselves." Close quote, she said Wednesday night, all while abandoning allies and retreating from the world. Harris called Trump's seesawing tariffs the greatest man-made economic crisis in modern presidential history, quote, close quote, blaming his policies for the rising cost of household goods, shrinking retirement accounts, and a tightening job market. She warned that his tariffs are, quote, clearly inviting a recession, end quote. She delivered her rebuke of Trump's first 100 days to Democratic donors who filled a ballroom in San Francisco, the city where she launched a political career more than 2 decades ago. It marked her second public appearance within weeks in her home state as she mulls whether to run for California governor next year or seek the presidency again in 2028 after the bruising loss. I don't see why she shouldn't run again if she chooses to. Even boxers get defeated. It's not how many times you get defeated, it's how many times you get back up. While her comments about Trump were biting, Harris's speech bore many of the hallmarks of a conventional political address, down to the tightly choreographed delivery and poll-tested approach accusing Trump of not meaningfully improving the lives of everyday people. It included few new details about her vision for the party or the state, and even fewer hints about her own political path forward. Harris has kept a relatively low profile since leaving Washington, which has left political watchers dissecting every public move with timid scrutiny. She vowed she was, quote, not going anywhere, close quote, at a National Conference of Black Women in Orange County in early April. She previously weighed in on a Wisconsin Supreme Court race that became a battle over Elon Musk's influence in politics, and made appearances at the NAACP Image Awards, Broadway shows, and the occasional NBA game. On Easter weekend, she attracted a swell of cheering onlookers when she attended services at an Inglewood church, sending a potential signal of the loyalty she inspires among key Democratic constituencies. Harris spoke Wednesday in a gilded ballroom at the Palace Hotel in downtown San Francisco, the keynote speaker for a gala hosted by the Emerge American Candidate Training Program that backs Democratic women. She expanded on her, quote, courage is contagious, close quote, theme from a prior speech encouraging Democrats to lock arms in opposing what she called the president's unconstitutional power grab. She lauded party leaders who grabbed headlines in recent months from Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for drawing throngs of restive progressives to their fighting oligarchy tour, to Cory Booker for his marathon Senate speech, and Senator Charles Van Hollen for leading the effort to bring Kilmore Abrigo Garcia back to the U.S., saying that in different ways have been speaking with moral clarity about this moment. Of the president and Republicans, Harris said, they are counting on the notion that if they can make some people afraid, it will have a chilling effect on others. What they've overlooked is that fear isn't the only thing that's contagious. Courage is contagious. Harris said the country is entering a, quote, constitutional crisis, end quote, and warned that the checks and balances on which we have historically relied on are beginning to buckle. Emerge America and Harris have long been aligned her 2000 defeat of an incumbent San Francisco district attorney has been credited as a source of inspiration behind the group. Some of the leaders Harris has mentioned most closely also have come through emerge, including Representative Latifah Simon, Lieutenant Governor Alini Kunasaklis. I probably messed that name up, my bad, y'all. And former San Francisco Mayor London Breed. Harris was greeted like a rock star with a roaring standing ovation from her hometown crowd. But how she plans to marshal that goodwill for the next act remains an open question. Harris has given herself a deadline of late summer to decide whether she will run for governor, or California governor, that is, seek the presidency again, or neither. Many state political insiders interpret her increasing visibility in the state as a sign, quote, she'll jump into the governor's race. Even many of those insiders have a decidedly blasé reaction to the prospect of her candidacy, according to a Politico UC Berkeley Century Center poll. Byron Brokaw, a consultant and former Harris aide who has remained close to her circle, said she will need to strike a tough balance, calling out Trump's policies without retaliating or relitigating the 2024 election. He said he expects Harris can pull it off, noting her knack for saying just as much with a facial expression or a cleverly timed pause, close quote. Quote, there's an art to recognizing where we are, reading the room and articulating a different vision. Brokaw said, and doing so in many ways, that doesn't necessarily shape people for an election that is behind us, quote, close quote. Harris looms large as a potential game changer in the crowded governor's race. Former Representative Katie Porter, one of the most prominent Democrats in the race, acknowledged Harris would have a near field clearing effect that would push out other hopefuls from her party, while some contenders, such as former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villagosia and former HH Secretary Xavier Garcia, neither of those need to become governor. It'd be a waste of time. Has said they'll remain in the race no matter what. Others have been quietly formulating backup plans of other offices they could seek. Meanwhile, major donors are largely keeping their power dry as they wait for the field to settle, leading to a frozen fundraising landscape and candidates who are increasingly impatient for Harris to make up her mind. Well, I'll call it right here. Kamala Harris is going to enter the governor's race, and she's going to become the next governor of California. And then after that, she's going to seize the White House again. Watch. Never surrender. Never quit.